María Elena Bergoglio, sister of Pope Francis, recently spoke about Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, sparking conversation about who might carry forward her brother's vision. Cardinal Tagle, often referred to as the Asian Francis, is widely seen as not just a strong papal candidate but also someone who truly embodies Pope Francis's spirit. His deep compassion, humility, and dedication to the marginalized mirror everything the Pope stands for. Tagle is known as a smiling theologian, a singing shepherd, and a communicator who resonates with both the powerful and the poor. In contrast to her brother's global presence, María Elena has lived a life marked by quiet strength, love, and resilience, qualities shaped by a family that endured sorrow yet remained united by faith. The Bergoglio family lived humbly in Argentina, far from fame. Their father, Mario José Bergoglio, worked for the railways and was a quiet, kind man, while their mother, Regina Maria Savori, anchored the home with unwavering faith. Though they lacked wealth, they were rich in love, and it was in this environment that the children learned the real meaning of life. María Elena was the youngest of 5. Her oldest brother, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, would one day become Pope Francis, but to her, he was just her loving older sibling who looked after her during difficult times. Her other siblings, Alberto, Horacio, Marta Regina, and Oscar Adrián, each followed their own paths, but with their passing, María Elena now holds the family legacy alone. She was still a child when their father died, a moment that could have broken many, but she found strength in Jorge Mario. He stepped in as more than a brother, he became a mentor, a father figure, a teacher. He showed her how to dance the tango, find joy amid sorrow, and stay resilient when life felt too heavy. When he moved to Rome, part of her heart went with him. Yet even with the distance and his rise to the papacy, their bond remained unshaken. Jorge, now Pope Francis, never forgot his roots. He continued to call her often, addressing her simply as María Elena, a gesture that spoke volumes. Titles were unnecessary between two people bound by genuine love. When he was elected Pope in 2013, the world erupted in joy, but María Elena cried. Not out of disappointment, but from the deep understanding of what his new role meant: more distance, more responsibility, and a heavier burden. In a candid moment, she admitted praying he wouldn't be chosen, not out of selfishness, but out of fear of losing her brother to the demands of the world. It's a sentiment many can understand, the quiet pain of watching someone you love become someone the world needs. Still, María Elena stayed grounded. At his request, she didn't attend the papal inauguration and instead gave the money she would have spent on travel to charity. That's who she is, modest and powerful, full of grace and kindness. While the world turned its eyes to Pope Francis, María Elena lived peacefully in Argentina, far from the spotlight. She never sought fame, didn't give dramatic interviews, and had no interest in writing books. Her words were not about elevating herself but revealing the true heart of her brother, not just the Pope, but the man who once mopped floors and read her bedtime stories. She described him as a leader with a powerful presence, yet still carrying the humor and determination of his youth. María Elena speaks with plain honesty, and in a world where so much is polished and scripted, her voice stands out. She raised her own children with the same quiet strength she grew up with. One of her daughters, Cristina Bergoglio, is a talented artist in Madrid, making her mark not with a crucifix but with a brush. Another child, José Ignacio Bergoglio, shares the family's story with a sense of both pride and humility. But María Elena is more than a sister and mother, she is a survivor. In 2015, during a serious health crisis, she was hospitalized but never gave up. She fought through with a smile, choosing laughter over complaint. When she reflected on the experience, she focused not on suffering but on how humor helped them survive when everything else seemed too hard. She treasures the memories of her late siblings, Alberto, Marta, and Oscar, not to grieve but to remind herself that love endures beyond death. Our family has known great sadness, many tears, and deep pain, she once said. But even in the hardest moments, we discovered a smile and a laugh that gave us the strength to carry on. That simple gesture didn't just reflect her life, it defined it. It reminds us that even in our darkest hours, laughter can be the first sign of hope. And when that laughter comes from someone who has experienced profound loss, it carries a rare and powerful kind of healing. While Pope Francis has reshaped the Catholic Church with messages of compassion, humility, and reform, it's his sister, María Elena, who has quietly upheld those values in the background. Long before media attention ever turned her way, these principles were a part of who she was. She doesn't appear on magazine covers or lead congregations, but in her quiet way, she's shown that humility isn't a weakness, it's a profound strength. That may very well be the greatest lesson her brother learned from her. If you've ever held your family together during loss, watched a sibling rise while you stayed in the shadows, or chosen love over envy and faith over fear, then you may find your own story in María Elena's. She represents the quiet heroes, those who never seek attention, yet keep love alive in the darkest moments. Before we continue, I'd like to ask for your help. I'm hoping to reach 10,000 subscribers by year's end, and your support would mean a lot. Please consider subscribing and staying connected for more insights, including expert takes on what's next for the Vatican. The passing of Pope Francis has created a deep void in the heart of Catholicism and ushered in one of the most uncertain and closely watched papal elections in recent memory. For many, this is a moment that touches a personal longing for change grounded in tradition. Pope Francis left a lasting imprint on the Church. Over 80% of the 135 cardinals who will enter the Sistine Chapel this May were appointed by Francis himself, guaranteeing his legacy will echo throughout the process. Yet, his influence isn't straightforward. He didn't build a college of cardinals in his own image. Instead, he gathered men from different theological traditions, cultures, and corners of the world. The result is a diverse and complex electorate, making predictions nearly impossible. Experts, from seasoned Vatican journalists to former diplomats, agree the 2025 conclave is both spiritually profound and politically unpredictable. There's no clear favorite. No consensus. Just a global church in search of leadership during uncertain times. So, what are the cardinals looking for? This isn't a matter of charm or age. It's not a campaign. It's a sacred journey of discernment. Still, there are key qualities they're seeking, a reformer or a traditionalist. Will the new pope carry on Francis's vision, or restore the Church's earlier identity? Can he balance Vatican bureaucracy with pressing global concerns? Does he have the empathy to connect with people's struggles? Can he think globally, not just govern from Rome? These are the defining questions being weighed behind closed doors. Every gesture, every word exchanged in the pre-conclave meetings carries meaning. Now, let's look at some of the leading names attracting attention, though no one can say for sure who will emerge. Pietro Parolin, 70, of Italy, is often seen as the Vatican's steady hand. As Secretary of State, he's the Church's top diplomat, calm, experienced, and deeply respected. He keeps the institution running with precision. Betting markets and AI analytics put him ahead, and traditionalists see him as a stabilizer. However, critics point to his involvement in the China-Vatican deal and question whether his strengths are too bureaucratic and not pastoral enough. Luis Antonio Tagle, 67, of the Philippines, is often called the Asian Francis. If anyone could carry forward Francis's spiritual vision, it's Tagle. Emotional, eloquent, and beloved in the global South, he's known for weeping during sermons and embracing society's most vulnerable. He symbolizes a church moving toward inclusion and justice, especially outside Europe. In a time of doubt, Tagle offers inspiration. Yet, following the Vatican's shakeup of Caritas Internationalis under his leadership, some question his administrative skills. Matteo Zuppi, 69, from Italy, is known as the people's pastor. Humble and deeply loved, Zuppi brings spiritual authenticity to his role. He's spent his career serving marginalized communities and advocating for peace. As a close ally of Francis, he's led interfaith dialogue and refugee support in Italy. Insiders see him as a unifier, but his lack of political experience within the Vatican may hold him back, especially when such experience matters in a conclave. Peter Erdo, 72, of Hungary, is a theological heavyweight and canon law expert. A staunch conservative, he appeals to those who feel Francis moved too fast. If the Church seeks to restore structure and order, Erdo could be their man. However, his traditionalism could alienate progressive voices and representatives from the global South. Peter Turkson, 76, of Ghana, is a respected advocate for peace and justice. He's played a leading role in efforts around climate change, economic fairness, and conflict resolution. A commanding speaker and peacemaker, Turkson could make history as the first African pope in over a millennium. Still, some insiders doubt the Church is ready for that bold a step, despite the symbolic power such a move would carry. Mark Owlett, 80, of Canada, has been a long-standing presence in the Curia. Known for his pastoral sensitivity and institutional knowledge, he's familiar with the Vatican's inner workings. But his age and recent controversies may limit his prospects. Conclaves don't begin with ballots. They're shaped in whispered conversations, late-night meetings, and subtle coalition building during the pre-vote sessions. In these moments, alliances form, favorites fall, and compromise candidates emerge. Vatican observers remind us, conclaves are not battlegrounds. They're sacred negotiations soaked in prayer. Often, the person most favored in the beginning isn't the one chosen in the end. While the cardinals may not fall into clear factions, each brings a unique vision for the Church. The challenge is not just choosing a leader, it's finding someone who can unify. Alongside the cardinals, AI and betting markets are playing their part, analyzing sentiment, historical trends, and inside chatter. At the moment, Parolan leads in predictive models, but Tagle and Turkson are close behind. These tools offer insight, but they can't predict the human heart. They simply reflect where global energy is moving. Even the smartest algorithms admit, this is the most unpredictable election in recent memory. What makes this moment so powerful isn't just the uncertainty. It's the potential. For the first time in modern history, we may witness a pope from Asia or Africa. The Church might once again step boldly toward the margins, toward mercy, toward people. If you've ever believed that faith should be grounded in reality, walking beside us, healing wounds, and listening instead of judging, your hopes are bound up in this moment. The next pope will be more than a spiritual figure. He'll shape global conversation, set moral tone, and carry the weight of souls across nations. This isn't about power. It's about spiritual rebirth. When the white smoke rises and the name is called from the balcony, everything will shift. Whether it's Parolan, Tagle, Zuppi, Erdo, or a complete surprise, one truth remains: the Church is alive, evolving, and reaching for something greater. So don't just observe, believe in it, feel it, and pray for it. Because this isn't just history. It's a living prophecy.